Well, and you guys have a close personal relationship with Root Advisors because, about a year ago or so, at Root Advisors, we had an internal IT guy, I would say. His name is Chris Dickens. Chris is still with Rootworks. Last thing Chris wanted me to call him was the IT guy. He kept telling me to call him the IT professional. Mm-hmm. But Chris took care of all of our IT needs a year ago, and he had been doing it for a number of years because he was going to we were going to focus him 100% on Rootworks needs. Mm-hmm. And so at that point, Ryan, my partner who runs the firm, reached out to you guys and started making the transition. So can you tell everybody a little bit about what that transition was like?
Yeah. So we started out with a technology planning workshop, which we do complimentary for any Rootworks firm. It's a 1-hour consult after the firm fills out a quick questionnaire, and we zoomed in on different areas of their technology where they're experiencing some pain, and we talked about different solutions that our other firms have been using. And so what's really nice is we can take empirical data from the field during tax season, what software is working really, really great for our clients, and then bring that to that conversation with Root Advisors and say, this is what we think would be a really great fix for this particular workflow issue that you're experiencing with this software. This is how you can, get more people working remotely, et cetera, et cetera.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but what I think that you're doing for Root Advisors right now is we still have our IT infrastructure, our server cabinet, and you guys are managing that server cabinet remotely, although you guys are, a couple of states away, you're managing that for us. Mm-hmm. In addition to that, you're managing the workstations, all the patching that's going on. I suspect you're managing our firewall as well. Does that make sense so far?
Yep. So we have a cute saying for when people ask us, what is it that you cover? And we just respond, everything with buttons and lights. So
perfect.
We are the IT department. So that IT department includes, the virtual CIO, strategic conversations, and everything all the way down to, resetting passwords, help with email, maintenance and monitoring, all of that stuff.
So our IT department now is outsourced. You guys manage that remotely. You took care of our Office 365 licenses. Do you guys run all the updates for our Thomson Reuters software and that sort of thing? Do we do that?
Yep.
How does that work?
Yep, absolutely. And that's one of the advantages we have too as being a specialist is we're seeing tons and tons of these updates come out across all of our firms. So we're really, really efficient at getting those updates applied quickly.
Then, to add a level of complexity to that, I mean, you guys took that over, I want to say it was, March-ish of last year. March of 2020, about March 15th of 2020, all hell broke loose, and we sent people scattering. So you helped us manage through sort of a remote environment. And so can you talk just a little bit about what that looks like, what you've learned over the last year, and what that's looking like in different accounting firms that you're working with?
Yeah, that's a great question. So there was a pretty big gap for some firms and a smaller one for others. So our first step last year was to create more remote access where it didn't exist for firms that had to send people home. And really, what we're kind of shifting to now this summer is more how do we optimize that? Because it's been proven that the technology that we're using doesn't have to be on-prem. Even if you're going to be completely in the office, it still makes sense to use cloud-based technology as soon as it's ready for your firm. So the nice thing is we're building solutions for both the virtual firms and the on-prem firms that are going to be more future-proof for other events like a pandemic or individual needs like maternity leave or working from a vacation or something like that. I read a really interesting article from the Wall Street Journal last week that 1/3 of all applicants surveyed would choose a different company if they didn't offer some form of remote work. So that's really been ringing true with a lot of our clients. So they're seeing that the talent pool was already pretty tight for CPAs. So having this ability to attract more talent through technology adoption has been a real game changer.
A number of entities that I'm involved with, some of them fairly large. I'm on the board of a bank, a decent sized bank, and obviously on the executive team for Right Networks and on their board. As we start thinking about going back to work, it looks different than just going back to work. It's we're both of the organizations that I'm deeply involved with lots of employees. We're asking the question, what does going back to work look like? Is it 5 days a week, 8 to 5, back in the office the way things used to be? Is it always gone and always at home, or is it somewhere in between? And I think to your point, in the Wall Street Journal article, there's a competitive advantage. I asked this at a recent bank board meeting. If we choose to go back on premise for everybody, what happens when we try to go higher and Chase Bank or JP Morgan or somebody else out there is offering a more flexible environment? How do we remain competitive? And so it feels to me like it has to be a hybrid of some sort, and this is what we look like going forward. Would you agree?
Absolutely. And we were talking about this actually a little bit before the pandemic too, and that that was a hot topic. It was just talent availability. Like, you can't make CPAs fast enough right now, it seems like. So in the IT world, we've been able to go virtual, a little bit before everybody else. So we saw the benefits on the hiring side, and that if you're, even in a major metro, you're limited by the number of people that are capable of driving to you. So if you can cast your net further, and now I have millions and millions of people all over the country from various different environments with cost of living being lower than, say, like the Bay Area of San Francisco, that becomes a very attractive thing to hire virtual employees. And technology has really, really enabled that in the last year, and I think is going to continue to do that in the future. One of the big things that's been a theme is how do we use better practice management, or better utilize the practice management we have, so that we got a really good finger on the pulse of, are my people being productive? Is the work being spread around evenly? Are we in good shape for the upcoming deadline?
Well, we're kind of out of time today, Micah, but I want to first say, thanks for being a partner with Rootworks. We felt like it was important that we found a vendor a few years ago that could specialize in tax and accounting firms, because we know firsthand how important it is that you as that vendor understand the needs of not only our firm, but the firms that we're working with. So thanks for being a partner with us, and thanks for spending some time with me today.
Yeah, it's been a pleasure. Thank you.